The first game I ever wrote was a top-down racer. And by wrote, I mean copied from a book of basic programs. The goal was simple: keep the block representing your car from running into the sides of the ever-winding road. Konami's Road Fighter is better than that game that I copied from that book in two regards. First, they actually have graphics instead of relying on the Commodore's extended character set. Second, there are slightly more obstacles. But at the end of the day, it really isn't that far from that simple little game written in less than 100 lines of BASIC that I typed into a computer. I think I can make a pretty good case that Road Fighter is Konami's worst Famicom game. The thing is, though, this is a perfectly reasonable, albeit very slight, game for 1985. It looks pretty good on the Famicom. It's got some fast gameplay. It just doesn't have a whole lot to it. Hence why I spent the first minute of this video mainly talking about Commodore 64 basic programs. You could play it, enjoy it, and then completely forget about it 10 minutes later. So if this is the bottom of Konami's output, then we have a lot of good stuff coming from them. For a game named Road Fighter, there's very little fighting on this road. Instead, it's a four-leg road race. Just get from the start to the finish before your gas tank runs dry. And even if it does run dry, you can still coast across that finish line. You can get a little bit more gas by running into the rainbow cars that you'll sometimes see on the road. It's only about 2 extra seconds of fuel, though. For the other vehicles, the orange cars just drive straight ahead. The blue cars will move, but not necessarily in any direction. And the red cars will actively try to block your progress. The semis also just keep going in a straight line. You'll also encounter oil slicks and potholes in the road. If you get bumped, you start spinning out of control, but you can recover this by just turning into the skid. That's an easier said than done thing, since it feels more natural to push in the direction that you want to go. Also, you might already be pushing in that direction when you get bumped. If you skid off the edge of the road, then you crash, but that just costs you a little bit of time. You're not the only one who can get bumped. You can bump other cars off the road as well. There really isn't a reason to do that, though. Your car has 2 gears. Low gear is the B button, and accelerates up to 200 kilometers per hour. And high gear is the A button, and accelerates to 400 kilometers per hour. Maybe the most notable thing about Road Fighters is that it's the first Famicom appearance of Konami Man, Konami's superhero mascot that will turn up all the time. To see him, all you have to do is drive for a while without crashing, roughly half the length of the course. There's really not much more I can say about Road Fighter. It's a very slight game that's essentially a reflexes test. I personally have a bad tendency to get it mixed up with another much worse top-down racing game that we're going to see in the next few days. It's not a bad game, it's just very middle of the pack. There's just nothing in Road Fighter that stands out, and I probably would have completely overlooked it if it wasn't for the fact that it was published by Konami.